What's up, YouTube? So today's topic, I'm gonna talk about bad parenting. So I feel like a lot of people experience a lot of bad parenting growing up. There's what a lot of people, and I'm not saying everyone's traumas or everyone's like deepest wounds or insecurities or their triggers are caused by family and households, even though most of them are. And again, I'm not sure how it plays out. I'm not an expert on it, but it's quite like we all know that everyone on YouTube or everyone on the internet, they always talk about like how toxic their parents are, or like you just see on video or like all over on social media on how parents would just like humiliate their kids and parents would just hit on their kids. Now it gets complicated because some people say that the newer generation, they don't listen to their elders no more, or they don't like listen to their parents. I feel like that's true and false. Because it depends on the situation. Obviously, people, they just like to assume things. Now I feel like if as a parent, if you don't raise your kids right, if you don't instill discipline in them, then yeah, they're gonna act up. They're not gonna obey rules. They're not going to listen to you, obviously, you know. And I think scientific proven where like if parents even like if they even put through their kids a lot of extreme punishment and discipline, then that's also going to cause kids to act up, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not talking about that. I'm more so talking about where like when kids are defending themselves because of abusive parents. People like to blame the newer generation, the reason why they don't respect elders, or like they're so disrespectful, or they seem more rebellious compared to other generations. Part of it is they weren't raised right, but because again, most parents are dumb. Not all the parents, but some of them are dumb, because most parents that have kids, they shouldn't be having kids, and most parents that do have kids, they have them by accident. And I understand, I respect that they'll take responsibility for their choices, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like it. I don't know. It's I could be wrong, but I just observe. It just feels like the most dysfunctional human beings that are so like emotionally whack. Like they're just so like emotionally fucked up. They're so mentally ill. It's always them that always have the kids for some reason. And what I've learned is that from other YouTubers, they mentioned that like the reason why people have kids is part of it is because they're so damaged and they lack love. And especially with narcissists, where like they view their offspring, they view their kids as extensions of them. And that's not how you're supposed to view kids. Shout out to New My Friend, because she mentioned that in one of her videos. And she made a great point. That's why like narcissistic mothers or parents in general, they abuse their kids, or like when they don't meet their expectations, they get angry at them, or like they don't love them as much because they view them as extensions of themselves. Because these same parents can't generate their own love within themselves, and they weren't. It's an ongoing cycle where like their other parents didn't raise them properly, and now so it's constant generational cycle. You know what I'm saying? Where like that bum ass fucking car. Like, why does cars do that, bro? They make all this fucking noise. It's part of spiritual warfare, type of distraction. It means I'm making a good ass video, but yeah, it's just weird though. Like, I don't get it, like, because it's like it's a cycle. It's a generational cycle. This is why people in the spiritual community, they call it generational curses. You got parents who weren't loved right, who are very mentally ill. They have kids because they view kids as extension of themselves, because they can't love themselves. They don't know how to heal themselves. So they have kids and have reckless sex, and then they have their offspring and babies, and then they mistreat them because they don't know how to properly love themselves, or they don't know what true love is and unconditional love, and they're mentally not right. And then they traumatize these kids, and then these kids traumatize other kids. So it's an ongoing cycle, you know what I'm saying? So this is where you get your generational curses from. But then spiritual warfare comes into play, where you have demonic entities that jump in, and then they join in, and then they perpetuate these traumas, they perpetuate these generational curses. So this is why the cycle continues. And you see the black sheep of the family, or the scapegoats of the family, these are the ones that have common sense. They're more spiritually aware and awakened, that they get attacked the most, because you got demonic entities attached to these family bloodlines, based on what I've learned. But it's just weird. Like, I don't understand. Like, I understand the human experience. This realm is very hypocritical, and everything has to be like there always has to be some type of bullshit or some type of drama. It's part of this reality. So it makes sense that where this reality often allows a lot of like mentally ill parents to have kids, or mentally ill people to have kids, I mean, so it makes sense. Just so this realm, or God, or the universe, or whoever created this realm, or the nature of this reality, so just so they can add some like something for human beings to do, pretty much, if that makes sense. As I could be wrong, but that's my conclusion of why it's ironically, or what a coincidence, that most mentally ill people have kids. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm not saying you have to be perfect, you have to be like all loving-dovey. No, I'm not saying that, because we're all human, because this is the nature of this reality, this is the nature of this realm, where everything's just naturally low vibrational. And because of the system we're living in, and everything's just restricted, and there's a lot of hidden information, and we don't have true freedom, you know what I'm saying? So that creates a lot of trauma. But I get it, but I'm not saying you have to be perfect. I'm just saying, like, it just seems like the most mentally disturbed people, they always have kids. And just like what I explained before, what I've learned from other people, is because they want extensions of themselves, because they can't generate that love within themselves. So then they abuse these kids and shit like that. If they don't meet their expectations, or if these kids are rebellious. And when I mean by rebellious, I mean like they don't go along with how they do things. So and don't forget, there's spiritual entities that multiply the influence to more dysfunction and more toxicity within these family bloodlines and shit. These demonic entities, they influence them a lot more, and then the cycle continues and gets trapped, because these entities, what I've learned from other people, is that they like to feed off of human suffering. Just like what my friend said, these demonic beings love to feed off human suffering. So this is why these generational family bloodlines always continue. And it makes sense of why it's so mainstream, why it's been happening all over the world, because one of the ways to make this world a much more evil place is to attack family bloodlines. So this is why it makes sense that these demonic entities are so infested. They're so like, they put that, like, they're so invested into inhabiting into dysfunctional families, and it's so hard to break these cycles. And whenever you have the black sheep of the family, or these generational curse breakers, they get attacked so intensely, because it makes sense, because in order for you to make this realm a much lower vibrational realm, then these demonic entities would target family bloodlines, which makes sense. So I could be wrong, I'm just saying. But yeah, this is weird though. I never understood. And this is weird. I hate how, like, it's annoying where, like, I see, why do parents, how come when they discipline their kids, and they always videotape and always record it, and then they put it on social media? That shit's weird. I never understood that. And that's how you know these same parents are narcissistic, and they like emotional intelligence. I feel like all the old school parents, like, from older generations, they're fucking retarded. I forgot what generation it's called, because you have Gen Z, Gen X, the baby boomers, it's something like that. I don't know what they're called, but these parents, these older generations, some of them are good, but at the same time, you have others who are just fucking dumb. They lack empathy, and not in a good way. We're like, oh, they're headstrong, they're very emotionally strong. It's not. I'm not talking about that. That's different. I'm talking about where they're just emotionally retarded. Like, they lack common sense. They're fucking retarded, and they're hypocrites. The same way they treat their kids, if these people were to treat them like that, they have a fucking problem with that. But these parents are bullies, because, like, they will not pick on someone their own size. They will not do that, but they only do that shit to weaker targets, and their weaker targets is their offspring, which unconditionally loves them. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't know any better. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they lack life experience, they're a lot younger, weaker, and shit like that. These parents are fucking retarded. So imagine where we live in a world where, like, you have a lot of retarded parents who are raising these kids in these younger generations. It's either going to cause kids to be more rebellious, which it is a good thing, because these parents need to get called out. But at the same time, these parents, they also don't have the tools to raise a fucking kid or multiple kids. So now you have these adults, now they're just navigating through this world extremely traumatized, and now they have abandonment issues or rejection wounds, and that plays out into, like, narcissism and shit like that. And then they're not able to live their life to the best of their ability. It causes people to overeat, to, like, not take care of themselves, their mental health and their physical health. It causes, like, suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety, social anxiety, and bad habits, etc. Because they're never getting their proper needs met. You know what I'm saying? So this is a crazy ass cycle It's an ongoing cycle. We have a lot of retarded spirits in this world. But I'm not sure if I should blame the spirits or that incarnate human bodies who are fucking retarded, that they perpetuate these cycles. And again, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but goddamn, like, it's common sense. If you're gonna raise a kid, obviously you treat these kids with respect and instill proper discipline. You don't fucking discipline them and then record on social media so you get clout and praise and recognition because you base your self-worth off of fucking social media, you dumbass. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. That's why we've got a lot of retarded spirits. But honestly, I blame the system. The system is traumatizing. The system is based on survival. We're not living life, we're surviving. Even if you love what you do, even if you love your job, even if you love your career, it's scary knowing that at any given moment, it could be taken away from you. Whether you get fired or the system collapse. So it's not, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, there's no guarantees in this life, you know? I'm not saying live life fearful, but, you know, just do what you got to do, have faith and believe in yourself, and that's going to create an effect where, like, I think it's called the law of assumption, you know? Because you don't want to manifest where, like, you get things you love taken away from you. And that comes from a place of wounding, like you're not getting your proper needs met. You know, so, but I don't know, especially families are dumb because we really do have a lot of retarded family members. So what happens when you have a retarded mother reproducing with a retarded father? They have kids and they don't raise the kids properly. Now they become all traumatized. But there's always that one family member. There's always that one family member who's more spiritually, more emotionally intelligent and aware. And when they realize what they're doing is not right, then these people get attacked by these multiple family members that get ganged up on, you know, because they're programmed. It's a fucking program of them programming, knowing that they're not good enough or they're meant to be abused. And when they see someone that's going against their norms, then they get attacked. And don't forget, you got the spiritual entities that are invested into creating more toxicity within these family bloodlines. So they like to entertain their thoughts. They like to manipulate their mind, their aura field, their energy, to attack certain people who are meant to break these curses or who are more spiritually aware, or they can see what's not right, you know? So yeah, but again, I blame the system. I blame the timeline we're in. Just the fact that God or the universe or life even allows people to even be in a state of being traumatized. Because there's no way where, like, you have spirits reincarnating into this realm, and then they're just automatically, they just don't have the proper tools to raise kids and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That's not normal. I hope it's not normal. If it's that the case, then I guess I'm right. We do have retarded spirits in here, a lot of retarded spirits. But if that's not the case, which I don't think it is, I feel like it's a system, it's this realm, it's this timeline, it's the fact that God or the universe even allows corruption like this to happen to force people to become traumatized. That's the problem, you know? Because if it wasn't for their responsibility, then this shit wouldn't even happen. There wouldn't be real corruption or the Masons ruling this shit and then causing human beings to suffer, to stress out, and to be traumatized, you know? I'm just saying. But yeah, but this is weird. Like, I don't get where, like, it's all over social media where parents, they like to embarrass or humiliate their kids, and they like to fucking record it on social media and make it public. What the fuck is wrong with them? Like, seriously, why do they do that shit? And that's how I know these same parents are narcissistic behind closed doors. They're influenced by demonic entities. Or anything, they could be possessed by a demonic entity. In the public, because we got a lot of other dumb people who don't know how to think outside the box. To them, they look like they're doing the right thing by showing them they're disciplining their kids. But in reality, behind closed doors, these parents are actually the fucked up ones. They're the evil ones. Because why would they even put it in public and humiliate their, like, babies and their kids? They're not even teens. And they want to put them on fucking camera on all over social media. You know what I'm saying? This is weird. And how come all of them are doing that? So they're all followers and they're all following the same script. They're all following from the same handbook. So they could be influenced by demonic entities or the Jezebel spirit or whatever the fuck. And it causes them to manipulate the collective of the society, you know? That they're good, but behind closed doors they're fucking evil. Because narcissistic and demonic entities are very good at hiding their hand. Not just with family, but with anyone. This is where you get your covert narcissists from and shit like that. they're very secretive. They're very good at hiding their hand and shit like that. And people can't see that. It takes a person with common sense to see that shit, you know? It's not that hard. You just gotta read someone's energy, look into their eyes, and sense vibes. You know, if you get a bad feeling, then that's how you know the energy is not good. If you don't sense any bad vibes, they got good energy, or there's something that isn't off about them, maybe it could be. But either way, everyone's capable of being manipulated. Just like when my friend said, these narcissists and narcissistic people, they're very good at being manipulative because they've been doing this shit since they were young. Because most narcissists, just like when my friend says, most of them, and other people mention this as well, most of these narcissists, they get traumatized from an early child, from an early, like once they're like kids or childs and shit like that, then they get traumatized and shit like that, and then they can't handle it. So they have demonic entities that comfort them, that disguise them as a comforting energy, and they inhabit their minds, their aura, and their energetic field, and now they're possessed pretty much. That's where you get your narcissist from, and covert narcissists, because they're trying to survive, you know what I'm saying? And they have no one to comfort them, you know? Because why I think narcissists, why is there reports? I'm not saying every narcissist is like this. Some people, because it's different. When I say narcissists are demonic possessed, I'm not talking about everyone. There are some people who are narcissistic. I'm talking about actual narcissists, or people who are very manipulative. I'm not talking about people who are selfish or egotistical or arrogant or assholes. I'm not talking about these types of people. We do have assholes. We all have an ego, and we're all arrogant. We're all like selfish to a certain extent. We all lack empathy to a certain extent. But I'm talking about people who are very skilled at being manipulative and very like sinister, and they just lack a lot of empathy, you know? And these same people, you'll see a pattern where like the things they do is not normal, or there's just something off about them. Their energy is off, and like they just lack empathy. It's like you're talking to a brick wall. That's how you know they're demonic possessed. And people have seen reports of them changing their eyes colors, changing their voices, their facial structures changing. So it gets deep, you know. But it's crazy. But it's just weird. It's just annoying. Why do we have so much parents who lack emotional intelligence? Why do we have so many parents who just are emotionally dumb, you know? And it's dangerous because it's going to cause a domino effect of creating more traumatized children. But luckily we have an information age, so people are becoming more aware of like shadow work and inner child healing and spiritual work and generational curses. So luckily these kids, they have access to that. So as they get older, or like or at least younger, versus how we learn that shit, then they become more prepared and they know what they're experiencing. And hopefully we have more advanced spirits reincarnating. We don't need no more retarded spirits reincarnating, you know? But this is how it is. And then you got time speeding up. You got the days going by a lot faster. So that's kind of trippy. Ever since Pisces season, we are in Pisces season. Ever since February, or ever since the new year, time has been, I think February, honestly, ever since February, time has been accelerating extremely fast. Like, it's insane. It gets annoying, bro. Like, especially if you work on a 9 to 5, like, you ain't got time for yourself. You ain't got time for yourself, man. Time is speeding up extremely fast. Days going by a lot faster. But yeah, it's just weird. I don't understand. And we're like parents, like, it's not that hard to love your kid. It's not that hard to love your children. It's not that fucking hard to do that. It's not that hard to support your kids. And they're dumb too, because like if you don't love your kid, or if you don't support them, eventually they're going to turn against you. You know what I'm saying? As kids, we're smart. We know like if our parent has our back and they support us, we could feel that. But if we know they don't have our best interests at heart, or like they're envious of us, or they're against us, we're not gonna deal with them. And they're fucking dumb, because as family units, they're supposed to support each other. Because if they all have their back and support each other and love each other, then they're able to manifest a lot greater things. They're able to excel a lot more further in this society, in this world, where they're able to create a lot of abundance for themselves, like money, happiness, love, abundance. You know what I'm saying? Resources, etc. They, like, you see families, some families, they start their own businesses because they all work well together. That's out of love and self-acceptance. But most parents, they don't see that shit. They see their kids as competition, or they seem as envious because they think they're extensions of them. So once they go against their belief systems or their fucking program or their trauma, they attack them. And that breaks family homes, that breaks family bloodlines and shit, and now they don't fuck with each other, and now everyone's just fucked. And like, well, not everyone. I'm not talking about people who are breaking free from these abuse. I'm talking about the parents who are doing that shit. They're dumb as fuck, because once they get older, they're not gonna have their family members that they abuse and traumatize. They're not gonna come back to them and take care of them. They're not gonna do that. They're gonna feel resentment. Either they want nothing to do with them, or they want revenge, and they're gonna do something, either kill them, fight them, or harm them. You know what I'm saying? Or steal from them. It gets that deep. But most parents, which are narcissists, like someone said on his YouTube channel, narcissists lack foresight, meaning they lack common sense. They can't see the future. They can't see outside the box. So when they do some fuck shit, some dumb shit where they abuse their kids and traumatize them, not knowing that it's gonna bite them in the ass in the long run. Meaning once they get older, once they're vulnerable, once they're in a wheelchair, or like once they keep burning all these bridges, they got no one to support them. They got no one to help. They lack proper connections with people because they burned so many bridges, especially with people that are close to them, especially with their kids. Like, how you burn bridges with your kids and your loved ones? Like, how the fuck you do that? You know what I'm saying? So like, and now they can't come back to them because they don't want to fuck with them. You know what I'm saying? So that caused them to be alone, and now they're fucked. And they live a lonely life. Imagine that. Imagine living a life where you burn so many bridges, where people that could have had your back, but you blocked all of your blessings, you ruined all your blessings, and now you're just alone by yourself, and now you got no one that fucks with you. You know what I'm saying? Parents, they don't see that, but it does happen to them. Some people call it karma. It could be karma, but it's just the laws of life. You know, you just don't do that. It's just common sense. You know, and kids, they're smart. They know when their parents have their support, they love them. They have that intuition, you know, but they sense that there's something off about them. They don't want to fucking deal with them. You know what I'm saying? So I never get how, like, why parents are so dumb. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's mental retardation. Maybe I don't know what it is, but it's some type of cognitive, I can't say the word, some type of cognitive dissonance and shit. And I understand being a parent is not easy. It's hard. It's challenging. But like I said, I feel like kids, they know if their parent is trying or not. Some kids are assholes. They're spoiled brats. But this is why you gotta be cautious when you raise them. You gotta be careful. You know what I'm saying? But that also plays a role where, like, you do have some retarded spirits. We have a lot of retarded spirits reincarnating. This realm is infested with a lot of dumb spirits, so that could be the case as well. But for the most part, if you're raising your kids, do the right thing and find the right balance. Instill discipline, but at the same time, show them love. And show them right from wrong, and know what they're doing is not right. But at the same time, show them compassion, empathy, and love. You know, don't humiliate them, don't abuse them. And if you don't like it, then you choose to have a kid. You know, then just control yourself. Or I understand life happens. The human body is extremely weak. The human body is extremely weak. The human body sucks. Because if you're having unprotected sex, that's dangerous, unfortunately. You can either catch HIV or STD, or like you can accidentally get someone pregnant because the sex feels so good. So I get it, you know, so it sucks. I get why people have kids by accident. You know what I'm saying? It sucks. It's fucking, the human body is just so fragile. It's just weak. You know what I'm saying? If you lose an arm or a leg, you can't grow that back. You know, the human body gets injured. The older you get, the more weaker your body gets, especially when you're like a 90 or 100. You can't really move around like that, or like the average human lifespan is short, you know. So I get it, the human body is weak, you know. This is the rules of this reality, of this realm, where everything is just so fucking like lame, you know. So I get it, but and again, just like I mentioned in this video earlier, I blame the system. The system is so restricted, so it causes people who have kids, it causes parents to make their lives a lot harder, because what should be rightfully them, they can't do that. They have to work for that. If people have kids, I feel like they should automatically, I'm talking about according to the system. Obviously, everyone deserves to be free. They don't have to be no one deserves to be a slave to work for the system. But I'm talking about if the system can, at least in the slave system, at least do something where, like, if they're going to remain the system to be corrupt, at least support the parents, at least, you know what I'm saying? That's fucked up. At least support the parents. But of course, they're not going to do that because the system is raised by evil, demonic Masonic bloodlines that have been ruling this shit for thousands of years. So they're not gonna do that shit. They're not gonna compromise. And just the fact that this reality, this realm, God, the universe even allows shit like this to happen, they're the fucking problem, in my opinion. You know, but let's just say the system is the way it is. The changes at least they can make, which they're not gonna do it, but let's just play make believe. And the changes were to make at least have all the parents get free money, free housing, free shelter, free clothing for them and their kids. Where like they don't have to work and they don't have to work, but yet they're still getting streams of income, consistent income, where like they're able to take care of themselves and take care of their families, clothing, shelter, their housing paid for, their food paid for, and their clothes paid for. You know what I'm saying? And their kids get free college and shit like that, you know? But I don't know, I'm just saying some shit. But so yeah, I blame the system why parents have it so hard raising these kids. But at the same time, I there's a spiritual reason. I blame this reality. I blame this realm for making the system so corrupt and evil to allow people to struggle just to take care of their loved ones, causing people to be extremely traumatized and narcissistic and mentally disturbed, where it gives room for demonic entities to influence their minds and infiltrate their aura. So now now they're stuck at a constant generational cycle of abuse within these family bloodlines, you know? So there's levels and layers to this, you know? But that's all I got to say. I just want to get this off my mind real quick. But this is weird. But yeah, that's all I got to say, and have a good one. Peace.